I'm Eric Loy, and welcome to Eric Loy Interviews. On this podcast, we talk to folks from the VTuber community about their channels, their talents, their stories, where they come from, and their plans for the future. We're joined by Sid. Hi, Sid.
Hi.
I appreciate you coming on. You're a person of many talents. Let the folks know all about Sid.
Hi, I'm Sid, also known as the Chosen Giraffe. I am a Twitch streamer, game dev, and writer.
Wow, that's about three things more than I could possibly do. You are a game developer and a streamer as well, and I've went back and looked at some of the streams you did, and you kind of give hints as to what you're doing on the streams. Um, so how did this come about that you ended up on the in the VTuber community?
Well, first started my streaming journey, I did it with a face cam, but then I realized that I'm too shy for that,
Right.
and I discovered VTubers, and I was like, oh, let me just hide my face behind an avatar that represents who I am without worrying about what I look like.
Yeah, it is. It's good to have that just to, just enough of a shield to still make it you, but not you.
Right, right.
Yeah. And when did you get started doing that?
Uh, I don't even know. I want to say maybe 2 years ago,
Hmm.
around that time.
Were you on before that doing the face cam stuff?
Yes.
Mm. So it was a changeover. And did you find yourself a lot more comfortable with the avatar?
Oh, yes, much more comfortable. I felt like I could be a lot more outgoing.
Mm. Yeah, it I see that with folks being able to show a little bit more of their personality and more of themselves. And folks got to remember your audience is going to be probably 99.9% people who you're never going to meet
Right, right.
in person, and you're kind of putting yourself out there no matter what you do in this particular medium.
Right.
And getting yourself out there is always courageous, I think, in one way or another. But you bring a lot more to the table than going on and playing games. You develop them. Uh,
Yes.
now tell me about that. When did you get started in that field?
I officially started almost 2 years ago. I worked at Amazon and I met the lead narrative director at Amazon Games. And he kind of became my mentor and helped me get into the game developer world. And since then, I've developed a couple games for myself, and here I am.
So tell me about the games you've done.
So I mainly right now I'm doing visual novels,
Hmm.
and I recently released a full visual novel called The Villainess Just Wants to Eat, and it's a otome visual novel based around food and pure feelings, and it's all happiness, and that's kind of what I've been focusing on. And I'm also developing another game that's a secret and hasn't been released yet,
Oh,
but
come
yeah,
on, give
it's
us just a little
I
hint.
know. Um, I will say it involves the mafia.
Oh well, there you go. That's all you need to know. It's all anybody needs to
Exactly.
know about that one. The game that you have out and developed, it must have been. Was it something that you've always wanted to do, get into video game development, or just something that kind of hit you at once?
I have always loved writing,
Mhm.
and I'm not a big gamer because I suck at games,
All right.
but I love watching people play games,
Mhm.
and I'm trying to become a better gamer. Obviously, if I stream, I have to become at least a little bit good. But I guess it didn't really hit me until probably COVID hit,
Mhm.
and I played like a lot more video games. I got my own gaming PC, and then I was like, okay, maybe I do want to write for video games.
Yeah. It seems like the COVID lockdown really brought out a lot of people into this community and really made it expand from all sorts of
Right,
fields. And you got the chance to kind of sit back and find a new outlet for yourself.
right. And it's very nice. And there's a weird intersection between game developers and VTubers. I know other people who are in the game development industry that are also VTubers. So it's kind of really weird, but also super cool.
You kind of get a different insight too, I imagine, from
Right.
doing that. It's I don't know how folks develop games. I couldn't obviously do it myself, but here you kind of get input, almost anonymous input, but you know their input from people who actually play the games.
Right, right.
So you get to use that in what you're doing. Has that affected you much when you've been creating?
Um, kind of. There's a balance that you need between player feedback and what you want to make.
Hmm.
And I'm very much the type of person where I just want to make what I want. And if people like it, then yay. But I have learned to listen to what people want, build an audience based off of that. So there is a little crossroads with it.
So you get caught between the artistry and the commercial.
Right, right.
There's always that crossroad. You always put out a director's edition if you if you don't like put in your own addition to it. So when you got this published and out to the public, it must have been a tremendous sense of accomplishment and pride.
It was, the game was originally for a game jam, which is where you have a certain amount of time to make a game,
Hmm.
and we were only able to get a demo, and it was released last year during the summer. So me and the team have been working super hard to get this out, and the response that we had when we put it out was absolutely amazing. So it was a very, very good feeling.
Well, congratulations to that, because that's not only
Yep.
heartening for yourself to know that you got out there, but to know that you have the ability to make people happy while doing this, that people want to see more.
Right. That's probably like the biggest amount of joy that I got was seeing all the comments and how everyone was so happy to play it.
And for you, this type of game kind of fit into the writing that you want to do, more of a visual novel type of thing. Um, and there's so many different types of games to play, but that seems that would be right in your wheelhouse if you were a writer.
Right, yeah. It's definitely a weird balance that I've learned with narrative design and writing in games. A lot of games don't have that much of a focus on it, but the people who do work on the writing, like the writing teams, are incredibly passionate about it. And I've met so many great writers that want to bring more story to the games that we release.
Yeah, it's amazing to me the talent that gets behind it. People don't really realize how much work it is to do
Right,
a
right,
game. You might have a vision of something, and then you've got to realize or figure out how that vision is going to transfer onto a screen for people to want to continue playing.
right.
And that is a whole different kettle of fish there, I imagine. When the writing and all, I I don't know if I could ever do writing for any period of time. I don't have that much of a attention span on what I do to do something like that. But it has to take some patience, I imagine.
It does. I've been writing for a very long time, like since before I could even remember. So it's something that it's a skill. It's definitely a skill. And when I compare my writing now to like when I was 16,
Mm-hmm.
I can see the difference in that, like how better I got.
Well, yeah, life experience does that, but also
Right.
practice. I mean,
Right.
if you pick it up from if you wrote at age 16 and then pick it up, 16 years later, it's not going to be the same as if you kept writing at that time.
Right. Right.
Yeah, I'd have to pick it up after about 40 years if that was the case. But with this, you've got a chance to kind of test the market a little bit, I imagine, to see what people want.
hmm Right. You can definitely find your niche audience because there will always be at least one person who likes what you write. And it's about cultivating that audience and connecting with them. And if it's like niche, there's a smaller amount of people, but that allows you to get more personal and build better relationships.
Yeah, you could be more focused, but that focus is more laser focused than a scattershot marketing approach.
Right, right.
And the people will come back for more, and that's what's going to happen with number two when your mafia game comes out, and that's all we know, folks. But so you have to stay tuned for that. When you're on and actually playing the games online, what do you like to play?
I really love story-based games. I love the Yakuza series. I streamed both Yakuza 0 and the first Yakuza game. It broke me. It was so emotional, so I had to take a super long break, but I'm about to start streaming the second game
Yeah,
because I have all of them and I plan to finish them someday.
it broke you so much you had to buy all of them.
Right.
I can't let go.
I must feel this pain again.
Well, that tells you how good it is. I mean,
Right,
it doesn't drive you off; it draws you in. And
right.
that's a good a good tell of how good the story actually is. The any other games that might catch your fancy when you're trying to stream?
Definitely rhythm games.
Mm.
I love rhythm games so much. I love it when they're extremely difficult.
Whoa, yeah,
That's always super fun. Muse Dash is probably my favorite one right now.
yeah.
That's very fun to play.
I've seen some folks in some of these rhythm games move. Their hands are moving faster than I can't imagine I could ever keep up with. All my fast twitch muscles ended in the original Super Mario. Okay, I'm not
Yeah,
catching up
it's
anytime soon.
definitely it gets difficult. It gets real difficult.
Yeah. Well, you've been able to kind of cross over and do both. What do you have any goals for your VTubing channel for this year?
I definitely want to spread the love of story games and writing in games. I've started doing interviews with other game writers
I
to
saw
kind
that.
of help
Fo-
that.
Folks,
Yes,
check it out.
and I definitely want to uh, do more streams focused on writing and like the writing in video games.
Mm. Yeah, it people get caught up in the technical and the visual of it, but if a game doesn't have a good story, and you're looking for a story type game, then you're not going to want to keep playing it.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, and if it's just to shoot them up and all you want to do is shoot people, well, that's one thing. But you got to have
Right.
the story games are a completely different animal. Now, when you're writing for a game, do you hear the characters as you're writing the scripts?
I do. Not all of my games have voice acting, but when I do bring in voice actors, a I give them a outline of what I want from the character voice, and I always imagine how they sound like. So when I find that perfect voice from the voice actor and it clicks, it's like the most amazing feeling.
Yeah, I am so jealous of voice actors. I, I mean, I have no ability to do that whatsoever. I was a radio guy. Maybe I got a radio voice, but I couldn't do a character voice more than one time because you have to go back and hit that voice again.
Right.
Um, is it?
It's definitely super hard. Voice directing is fun, but it's definitely the way the characters come alive goes on to the voice actors, and all the ones that I've worked with have done amazing, amazing work.
Yeah, and it a lot. If you're talking with a lot of these visual novels, don't necessarily have a lot of character mouth movement and that type of thing.
Right.
They show
Right.
us a still, and the voice actor has to convey the emotion behind the lines. It's acting. It's not just reading a script. It's acting.
Right. Exactly, exactly.
And these people are professionals and not AIs. I'm just want to make that out there. Not AIs. Uh,
No AI.
no, not at all. These folks put in a lot of work, and have you done any of that yourself?
Voice acting?
Yeah,
No. I do want to try it out, but I feel like I don't know. I feel like it's not. I'd like to stay on the voice directing side rather than voice acting.
well, you know, if you're a perfectionist, it's really tough. I'd imagine.
Right?
And that no, it's still not good. That's the reason why I never did air checks of myself. I don't want to hear what I'm saying. I already said it once. It it would be fun to be able to pick and choose and find that exact voice for the character. And if you've already got an idea as you're writing it down, Um, has there been somebody that's caught you off guard in the voice acting where well, I didn't think it would go that way. Maybe it's better this way.
Yeah, definitely. There have been some line deliveries where I had something in mind, but then they deliver it in a different way, and I'm like, okay, yeah, that definitely works.
Mm, yeah, it's not exactly ad libbing, but it's
Right.
it's it's putting a different emphasis on the line, and that can change a lot of
Exactly.
things. But you see though
Exactly.
these something that if you hear somebody inflect incorrectly on a line, it can stop the game cold.
Mhm.
And you're like, okay, well, that wasn't supposed to be there. Or that just took out the mood. A lot of things in these story games is mood, and you've got to set that
Right.
not only with your writing but with the voice acting as well.
Exactly, exactly.
Yeah, it really does play a big part. Now, in this game coming up, I'm not going to ask you to spoil anything more. Is it going to be along the same lines of how the story progressed in your first game? Um, And is it going to be that type of a story continuance?
So, I plan for myself each year I will have a theme.
Uh-huh.
Last year's theme was pure love, and this year's theme is all about regrets, reflection, looking back on the past. So this game is a little bit more emotional. It has more angst and it's definitely has a bit of a darker tone. It still has a bit of comedy and stuff in it, but it is kind of a 180 from my previous games.
So you're going to make people love these characters, and then you're going to hurt them.
Yes, exactly.
Evil. But that's what draws people into the games, and you want to make them care about the characters.
Exactly, exactly.
And have you played games before, these types of games where you got started and you think, oh, this is going to be good, and then you didn't really get invested in the characters, and it kind of disappointed you?
Yeah, that's happened for me sometimes. I tried playing Valorant
Hmm.
and I was like, I'm ready to get into the story, but I couldn't get into the story because I was too busy getting killed and trying to figure out how to play the game. And I was like, I can't even look up the character stories with all this going on.
It was too much of one to work on the other, and you're there for the story. Dang it!
Right, exactly.
That's what I'm here for. It is very interesting to hear someone on that side of the creative side of. I've been talking to folks who are on the play side, but are there things that you pick up while playing these other types of games? And like, I can modify that and use that in my game.
Yes, most definitely. A big thing when talking with other game writers is we always share the games we play
Hmm.
and we share what we can take from that. A very good example is Baldur's Gate
Hmm.
and how good of a game that was in everything, and especially the writing. And it was like a big nerding out session for all the game writers that I know, and it still is because there's just so much to take away from it.
And use and adapt and adopt and improve. And
Exactly.
that is a really good indication of a good community. And it sounds like you're in with a good group of people that are willing to share some ideas and help each other out.
Right. It's all about helping each other out, especially in times like these where the game industry isn't exactly the best in terms of jobs, but as long as we all have each other's backs, it'll be okay.
You haven't run across anybody who's been, kind of seeing each other's backs and seeing a target for a knife, have you?
No, no, it's mainly like "Aw, this sucks. Let's all feel bad together."
Well, that's good. That's good to hear because when you're in a situation like it seems to always be one anyway that
Right.
tries to mess it up. But if you have that group of peers with you and is that you're willing to listen to, maybe they come up to you and say, I wouldn't do it that way, or kind of give you a boost. That's got to be a really good feeling when you're putting your soul out on a paper for this project.
Right. It is a good feeling. It's a very good feeling when everyone is as enthusiastic as you are.
Now tell me this, I'm going to ask you this straight up. What feeling do you get when you see somebody playing your game? And is it pride? Is it fear? Is it what?
It's a mixture of excitement and anxiety. Excitement because, oh my gosh, someone is playing my game. And anxiety because, oh my gosh, what if they react badly? Because you're right, it's hard to know how someone will react in the moment. But if they do react badly, then I'll be like, okay, I'll take note of this and use it to improve or see what I need to fix.
That's a good outlook to have. Not always easy to keep.
Oh,
But
yeah, it's definitely not always easy.
well, I mean, you're with that and with going on in VTubing, your audience, and I told folks that your audience is the world potentially.
Right,
When you're on VTubing, you could be talking to anybody from the person next door to Thailand to anywhere around the world. And when
right,
you're distributing a game like that, it could go anywhere around the world.
exactly.
Yeah, so I'm not scaring you off, am I?
No.
No, it doesn't sound like. Sounds like me. You've got a really solid foundation, and you're going pretty strong. Folks need to check out the name of that first game again for folks who want to get a hold of it. What's that name?
The villainous just wants to eat, and it's on itch.io or
Itch
itch.io,
Itch.io.
however you want to say it.
It's easier for me to remember Itch.io.
Right,
and
exactly.
and for folks who want to come on and see you stream and check out what you have to offer online, where are you at and when do you stream?
I am on Twitch at The Chosen Giraffe. I stream at a variety of times because I feel like I'm always up, and depending on who I interview and their time zone, I have like weird stream times, but I usually have a schedule up on my Twitch, so you can find it there.
One more question, and it's been a very fast 20 minutes. It's a great talking with you. On your interviews, these are different than what I'm doing here. Obviously, your interviews are peer to peer. Um, are you comfortable with that? A lot of people
I
don't get comfortable with that right away.
I am very much an introvert and like a naturally anxious person, but
Hmm.
if I talk to someone and we have mutual interests, it gets a lot easier. So, and I've talked to a lot of these people beforehand, just
Yeah,
like as kind of like a preliminary sort of thing.
right.
So I have a good level of comfort.
That's good. Yeah, it shows. I heard you interview before, and it's good that you're able to break down everything right away because I've noticed over the years when I talk to somebody, if I come in like a fanboy or whatever, all the guards come up. But then once you know and you know these people before you come in, that breaks down and you get a really good conversation out of that. And I think you do a really good
Right.
job with that. So so far you're doing a real good job with everything. So folks need to check you
Thank
out.
you.
Yes, we're going to have all of the details as to how you can check out what Sid has to offer down below in the section right below this interview. And we thank you for taking the time to come on with us.
Thank you for interviewing me. I had so much fun.
Thank you for listening to Eric Loy Interviews. Join us again next time when we talk to another member of the always interesting VTuber community.